Kate, are you ready to open the vault?
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming on today. I'm super excited to get stuck in. How are you feeling?
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm really honoured to be chatting with you. Thank you so much for
You're
the
so
opportunity.
welcome. Our worlds, we were saying before, weren't we? Our worlds aligned today for today to happen. So I'm very grateful of that and grateful for your time. So let's dive in. A common denominator that we have on In the Heart of the Vault, and that I'm super blessed to have, is that all of our guests have some kind of purpose, which I just adore, and each and every one of you are totally different. But what comes with that is some kind of life turning point or moment or an experience that's pushed them in that direction. And so I'm very mindful of that, hence, and me with the podcast, I'm not sure I would have been doing it, certainly not with this kind of title and this meaning behind it, if I'd not been through something major myself. It's interesting how life does that. So with you, which we'll get to, and I can't wait to unpack it about the Hope Project and everything that comes with that. But with your permission, I'd love to go back and just share a bit of your experience of who you are, so our audience gets to hear about your beautiful life and who you are and all that comes with you, and how you got to where you are today. So let's go to, time before the children, and let's start at 18-year-old you.
I was really blessed with great family, great friends. Growing up in Sydney, I'm one of 7. I had a great future that I thought was going to happen, outside of school. I'd got a job at a accounting firm as a receptionist, and my boyfriend, who was 2 years older than me, introduced me to a poker machine one evening when we were there at a club to kind of hang out with his friends.
Right.
And that interaction was something I understand now in a very different light to what I experienced as an 18-year-old. I put $20 in, wasn't sure what to do. He said, press this button. I pressed it a couple of times, and all of a sudden it starts making all these sounds and the numbers starts going up, and my heart's beating in my chest. And I'm thinking, is this real? Like, is this really money that's now mine? And I was shaking and I pushed the collect button, and then a man came over with a clipboard and this wad of cash, and I'm still sitting at the machine shaking, and he says, you must be really lucky. You're really good at this. And hands me this money, and I'm signing on this slip. That whole experience I had no preparedness for. I knew all about how harmful drugs and alcohol and smoking could be for my health and well-being. I had absolutely no awareness that gambling was a thing that could harm you. And not only that, that it was actually built to harm. That's its whole business model. It is a product designed to addict so that you keep losing more and more money.
So while you're talking about that, you can see like you're almost there. Like I can see it in your face changes as if you're living that moment again, with obviously fast forward to everything that led from there, but the emotion. Prior to you going on the pokie machine at that first moment in time, had, you know, any family or other family friends or anyone in your circle ever spoken about pokie machines? Was it completely foreign to you, for a better word?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so collectively, I would imagine as well, you just said, you know, they've come over with a clipboard and they've handed you this money, and there's kind of this ooh-ha around, because I would imagine your boyfriend and his friends were going, oh my God, you've won, and all this kind of celebration, short-lived, but it's there, isn't it? Along with the flashing lights, the machine going off and everything.
Yes.
It's kind of the whole package.
Yes. It is an overwhelming experience. Sometimes, people experience it by themselves. Sometimes strangers will come up and congratulate you if you know your machine's going off and you're like, I don't want to attract attention. It's a weird thing when it actually happens, but it totally blindsided me, and from what I know, it's actually the worst thing that could have happened. Most people who never engage with gambling after the first experience usually put their money in and it goes, and they go, well, that was nothing, and walk away and never engage with it again. The worst thing that can actually happen that gets you hooked is if you have a win the first time.
So that day, you're 18 years of age, you first go on a pokie machine. So was that kind of from there on in, did that become a common theme then? You'd go to the pub on a Friday night, have a few dollars in there. Was that kind of where it started?
Yeah, it was just suddenly what happened was all poker machines started to come into focus then. So previously I would be out and be driving and not even realize that I'm driving past venue after venue after venue. But once you've been impacted by gambling, you suddenly tune into it in a different way. So even if I thought I was leaving the house to go to work or go hang out with my friends, I'm driving and I'm noticing, oh, there's a venue there. There's a venue there. Or if I'm out and I can hear the machines, it's just so activating, and again, it just takes over your mind and body in a way that you never consented to.
So would you go to, like, after that first win, like you said, you know, unfortunately you won that first time, maybe it had been a different path had it, you know, you'd not won and lost money. But did you from there, like, go, you're an accountant or training to be an accountant, did you go like into your work life as normal, but there was kind of this pull there? Was it a gradual pull?
I was just a receptionist.
Okay, sorry.
Let's not
talk it up.
No. Yes, I was working as a receptionist in an accounting firm,
Which is still a great job.
It was great.
Yeah.
But sorry, what was the question?
So, like, I'm trying to imagine and I guess make it clear to our listeners and watchers as well of, again, not one size fits all, so very different for everyone who's listening if they're experiencing something like this. But from you winning that money for the first time ever on the machines, and then you talk about that pull, you start to notice, and I guess like on a simple terms, it's like that very, very different, but just using an analogy, a car that you love and it's the first time you've seen it, then all of a sudden, or someone's spoken about it, then you see them everywhere.
Exactly.
And that's kind of obviously very, very different, but a pull.
Yes.
Because you don't know what you don't know. Of course, if you've never been on one or been around or spoken, or your family circle or anyone's been around them, you're not going to know.
No.
But how gradual was that for you from being that 18-year-old, innocent 18-year-old, going on your first pokie machine? How gradual over time? Like, was it a few months, a few weeks?
It was definitely weeks.
Wow.
And I moved from it being something I did with my boyfriend to a solo activity.
In that short time.
Yes.
And I think it's thank you for being so honest as well and transparent with that, because I think and probably from me, if someone would have asked me, or I would have said, oh, maybe it's something that happens for them over time, or a period of time, or an interest, and then something major happens in their life and they kind of it's a comfort for them, like not knowing, pure ignorance and not being educated enough in that. But like you said, weeks, that's no time at all, is it?
No. And look, for some people, they may have had their first engagement when they were young, and then it might have be decades go by, and then all of a sudden they have a very different relationship with it. So it's just the exposure to the product creates a vulnerability that the industry can exploit at any point in your life. So, yeah, for me at that point, I had time, money, and access, and that was where I was being drawn, because there was no other. It suddenly feels. What I say to people is it not only hijacks your mind and body, but it hijacks your sense of hope. So all of a sudden from 18, the hopes that I had for my life were then just gone. And I was the next press, the next press, the next press.
Wow.
It just
took
replaces
over.
it. And it doesn't even sound real when I try and explain it to somebody. It's so hard if you've never experienced it to understand that pull.
Yeah.
But that's why people are drawn to what I say on podcasts and things like that, because they're like, you get it, you understand, you're saying how I feel.
Yeah.
You're saying the truth of what is happening to me. And I'm like, why can't I stop?
Yeah.
And I'm like, because that's the way it's built. It's built to override your human instincts. It's built to addict you and simultaneously make you hate yourself because you think there's something wrong with you. But what we have created in our culture is a harmful environment that's been socially normalized, a product built for addiction that is accessible any time of the day. It's horrific, with no safeguards.
No safeguards. Did you, when you being so young as well, was it something, because you talk about, it was about, correct me if I'm wrong, about 12 years for you in and out of that addiction. So can we tap into that a little bit on when you say in and out, like obviously you tried and tested everything, where I would imagine there's a lot of guilt and shame attached to that. Did you talk to your family or your closest people to you about what was going on for you, or was it very just you and only you?
It was hidden to a large extent from most people that knew me.
Yeah.
And there would be periods where, like, my husband would know, or, I remember once a friend saw me leave a birthday party and go over to the machines, and she was worried about me. And so it was at different points visible to certain people, but most of the time it was completely under the radar. And that was because of how it is built. You know, like you come home from an experience and no one can tell whether or not you've been to a venue. You can't see it.
Yeah, it's not like you've been drinking or you've gone for
Yes.
you're addicted to drugs, or, you know, it's fairly evident that you've been using something.
Yes.
It's almost like cloak and dagger, isn't it? Like you're in there, it's very dark. You know, it's kind of very hidden, and the only way someone would know if they visually saw you, or a husband with bank balances and things like that. So how, you know, when you would go and get help or go, I mean, I guess that's not accessible very easy either, is it? But for yourself to go, okay, that's it.
Yeah.
Almost tricking yourself that I can do this on my own. I've just got to stay away.
Yes.
How long would you try that for? What would you do to actually try and do that?
Do you know the average time it takes a person with experiencing gambling harm to reach out for help?
No.
10 years.
No. Oh, that's so sad.
How awful is that?
Oh, that's just hell on earth. 10 years. That makes me so emotional. That's just.
And by the time they've got to 10 years in, the dysfunction, the way the person is so mentally destroyed.
Yeah.
The shame is so deep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it breaks my heart. I've spoken to people who've been impacted for 60 years, and I'm the first person they've ever spoken to.
Okay.
How horrible is that?
Oh, that's awful.
And it's honestly what keeps me doing what I do, because build language and understanding where there's been none. It's building people's level of compassion, self-compassion, compassion for families to look at their loved one in a different light, to help them understand the hell that they're living through and step out of the pain that family member's experiencing. Because the dynamic that opens up is the person is out of control, not because they lack self-control, but because they are captured by a horrific product that is built to harm them. And then they burn through all of their resources and they are desperate to try and recover themselves. They think that if I just can win it back, I can go back to the beginning when things were normal in my life.
Yeah.
And you can't go backwards. And the losses drive you backwards.
Because you're just bringing up all of that, aren't you? Just all those times, all those losses constantly.
And the shame that you feel is suffocating. It's so horrific that drives you to try and escape that. You try and escape yourself because you can't believe what you've become. So you're so far away from where you thought your life would be. And that's what I say to people, like, no one ever wakes up and thinks, you know what, today I'm going to get a gambling addiction.
Yeah.
It is addiction by design. It is built to harm a person, exhaust all of their resources, and then it hopes that you will just take yourself out so that you don't cause waves, you don't disrupt this business model that they've refined over decades, refined largely with public money. So the gambling industry has been able to access business development grants from the government to refine their products. How horrific is that?
Awful.
So, you know, when you're experiencing it as an 18-year-old thinking, what's wrong with me? Why can't I stop? The logical answer was, it's me. I'm broken. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. And when I deliver truth to people and help them understand this is not you, this has happened to you, it's not who you are, that's not what you ever thought your life would be, they weep, they feel seen, they feel heard. I deliver the truth about the whole gambling landscape of this country. If they're impacted by poker machines, I point them towards the documentary Kaching, and that helps build out the understanding of how the product is designed to override you, and with features like losses disguised as wins. So this is, say you bet $5 and the lights and sounds will go off like you've won, but it's actually only $2. So it celebrates you losing $3, but it's registered in your brain as a win.
Just as noisy and crazy
and all of the other features. And then if it's sports betting or online gambling, helping them to understand these are companies that are able to access people in a way that, you know, in previous decades they had no access to. If you wanted to do sports betting, you had to go into a TV, you had to put on a bet, and then you left. This is now apps that are on your phone, and even if you think, oh, I'm just going to put a bet on, guess what? That company now has access to you 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. It knows all of your data. It knows how to nudge you into behavior change that you never intended. And the stories of people putting 400 or 500 bets on a day.
Oh my gosh.
A day.
That's exhausting.
Because they're that impacted by technology that was never meant to be accessible to people 24 hours a day.
And you know what, Kate? That's you playing devil's advocate, but you could say, well, adults access and they should know better and all of those things. But also I know, like my youngest is 14 and he knows friends who are doing the
Already
betting.
Yep.
That's insane to me. And then there's that shiny object syndrome. So spend $10 and we'll give you $30 to start, or a bag of gold coins or whatever that is, and it's like stimulating for them, for their undeveloped little brains. God knows where they're getting the funds for to even do it in the first place. But like you said, it's easy accessible. You don't have to go into a front bar now or a pub or whatever.
No.
You can literally stay comfortable in your own home and
In the last year, 600,000 12 to 17-year-olds lost $18 million in this country.
Oh my God.
How is that
insane?
okay?
Yeah.
And still, the pressure government, can you please take this seriously? Can you please act in our best interest? Can you please protect us from a predatory industry and stop protecting their profits? And no, we get told no.
Because there was I remember seeing on the news or in something, going back a few years ago now, there was pre-COVID, but obviously like beautiful pensioners coming out, drawing the pension on a Thursday and then going straight to the pokies and, putting all the money on there. And certain communities and bars were kind of putting a stop, saying no, and they would bar members, you know, and just say no, enough's enough. But you and I tapped on this a little bit earlier today, but that's only a small group of people, isn't it? In small communities who are doing that, which is beautiful. They're saying no, this enough's enough. Our community is far more important to us than watching these beautiful, you know, pensioners or anyone come in and just waste the money on a Friday night, working hard all week, and then their money's just gone. And then again, we discussed earlier, but linking, it's just has that ripple effect. It links to crime because people are desperate. They've now got no money. So where else are they going to source that money? But also that perpetual cycle of next time I'll get a win, next time I'll get a win, next time I'll get a win.
Well, the part of the hope that gets hijacked in your brain is gambling then is the only thing that represents hope, because your life is so destroyed that the only thing that your brain clings to is the possibility of a win.
It's like the lottery ticket,
You're that disconnected from yourself. You're that hopeless in your life because of the way gambling has harmed you that it just still represents hope. And that is so heartbreaking and so wrong to exploit people that you're harming. As you said, the number of elderly people who've lost everything that they've worked for their whole life and have absolutely no capacity to re-earn. I mean, I've speak to so many young people who are absolutely desperate and feeling devastated that they've lost everything that they've earned up to that point. But because gambling blocks your perspective of being able to see a future, they're driven to that same sense of hopelessness, thinking, well, what's the point? Like, there's, you know, I might as well take myself out. And I'm like, no. You have an opportunity to build the life that you want, but you have to understand how shame is interacting with you right now. You have to understand how this industry is interacting with you right now. And when you can understand that and put those things back into the right perspective, then you can build the future that you want and feel supported in doing so. But as I said, that 10 years that usually occurs where a person tries to self-correct on their own is just horrific.
What was the catalyst for you?
Total hopelessness. I was so completely mentally exhausted from being on this loop of, okay, I'm not going to do this again. It's going to be fine. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I've tried this help. That wasn't helpful. I tried this help. That wasn't helpful. Okay, there doesn't feel like there's any help left for me. I'll try and figure it out on my own. That kind of, you know, that was the roller coaster I was on for a decade. And in 2012, had I not been pregnant, I wouldn't be talking to you right now. I couldn't figure out how to take my life and not harm my child that I was carrying. And that is the only reason that I'm still here talking to you. It had just been such a long time that I'd been trying to hold up my life, hold on to hope that just had been quashed at every time, you know. Any time you put your hand up for help and it's unhelpful, you just, part of you dies. Like, you just, like, there's no, what is the point?
Were you talking to anyone then outside? Like, were there any groups or
No,
nothing?
nothing. I had seen a counsellor face to face. The first time I put my hand up and I rung Lifeline, I was told, just don't wear shoes. If you don't wear shoes, you won't be able to get into a venue, so you won't be able to gamble.
No.
Yeah. And
Oh, cured.
oh, okay, I'll just not wear shoes forever. Great solution. And I pleaded with her. I was like, how is there's got to be a rehab. Like, I feel like if I was addicted to drugs, there'd be a rehab I could go to. I need a rehab. And she goes, no, there's no rehab for gambling. And if there was, it'd be for men. So that made me feel like I was the only woman experiencing
Why
gambling
for
harm.
men only?
This is,
I don't understand the logic in that.
I know. That was how.
It's not discriminated. It's like, oh my gosh.
So I was 23 at that stage, and I was just absolutely beside myself.
So all that, I would imagine that call or those calls that you made would have taken so much courage
Yeah.
to actually do that and to be basically have that door. And that's not to say, I know they serve a purpose, so I just want to put that out there for sure.
Services have come a long way.
Yeah,
since
incredible.
then. But
to have that door slammed in your face, and that may have just been enough to just go, well, what is the point then, you know?
I was just like, what am I supposed to do? Like,
Were you having a conversation with your hubby? Like, like you just couldn't even do that?
he had known that I had been struggling with it, but at that particular point I think it was 2003 when I rang Lifeline, like, I was that desperate for some external help, and there was none that was offered to me. And then it was probably another 3 years after that I reached out again and was told there was counselling, face-to-face counselling opposite the club. Oh, God. So I went to that counselling, and yeah, it was pathetic. Like, she didn't understand what I was going through. She didn't offer any insight into how I was feeling. It was just pointless and also triggering, because I'm talking about what I'm experiencing, not really getting any insight or support, and but being activated in shame
across the road from
and then
where it all
walking
started.
outside and going, ugh.
Yeah.
So that was, again, a horrific experience. And then a few years later, I was pointed towards a private psychologist who charged me $200 an hour, and that just created more financial stress than solutions. So that was the last point I accessed help and thought there is none, and then endured it for another 4 year until I tried
trying to spin all these plates of just being a mom. How many children did you have at this stage?
Well, I was pregnant with our sixth in 2012.
So like just the overload anyway as a mom with one child, let alone pregnant with this six, and then this guilt and this shame and facade, you know, trying to put up, like show up.
Yeah.
Yeah, but inside just so heavy.
just dying. And
Oh, okay.
it breaks me that the 12 years that I experienced gambling harm were the 12 years that I actually had my babies. That was the light in the darkest period of my life.
Thank God for them.
I'm so grateful that of everything that gambling took from me, it didn't take away my desire to have the family that I desired.
Yeah.
That each of my children was so desperately wanted, and they're the greatest gifts of my whole life. They're everything. They're everything. And I'd almost convinced myself that I wasn't worthy of them.
That's how low you got. Okay.
And I hate the time and the mental energy that it robbed me of, the precious moments that I was so captured by shame, so captured by mental distress of what I'd endured or enduring. That's the part I hate. But so grateful for my children. And
do you think in that moment, because like I am with the kids, I think, was I always in the moment? Was I always, we always have mum guilt, doesn't matter what, that never leaves us, whatever's going on, right? And I look back at videos and I think, oh yeah, I was, in that moment I was. And, do you think because it was so heavy and so consuming, do you think that overshadows, because like you've got 6 incredible humans, who are growing up into, these beautiful adults, you've done a lot right too, so do you think it's just, again, another layer of that guilt? No doubt you were consumed, it would have been horrific, but there'd be so many beautiful windows where you were, you wouldn't have gone on to have 6 children, obviously them being the love of your lives and just incredible. Do you think sometimes that overshadows? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think just being able to speak to them truth about the reality of that situation and apologize for, the ways that I fell short, and to always have that open dialogue of, I'm human.
Yeah.
I did the best with what I had available at the time, and I'm here, and I wish that things could have been different, but not focusing all of our energy on the past, but what we've built since then. And, I remember once someone who interviewed me said, wow, how are your kids? Like full judgment, in this comment. And I was like,
Oh my God. You're like, interview over. Goodbye.
yeah. I was like, they're actually pretty bloody amazing. And that's because, yeah, I didn't model perfection to them, but I modeled humanness and repair, and the way that my husband and I have been able to rebuild in our marriage through incredible hardship, both
Amazing.
his stuff and my stuff, you know, that we've been able to grow and forgive and learn, and that we've kept talking to our children through it, like not removing them from the situation, but helping them grow as human beings to navigate adversity and have compassion for people who are experiencing adversity, like the way that they see the world, the way that they have a heart for people who are experiencing hardships, you know, like they read the messages that people send me after someone's heard me speaking on a podcast, and they're proud.
So proud.
And I'm proud of them, you know. I know that they'll be okay in life because I haven't wrapped them in cotton wool and said, everything's fine, everything's perfect, just paint on a facade and you'll be fine in life. They're real. They know the realities of life, and they know they can talk to me about anything.
That's what I was going to say as well, Kate. Like everything, I'm a big one with the kids as well, open communication. I think nothing's off the table.
No.
But what comes with that, all of those things that you said as well, and being open with them and not sugarcoating, because that's not life, is it? It's not unicorns and rainbows. You're setting them up for disaster then, aren't you, by doing that?
Yeah.
But what comes with that is loyalty and unconditional love, knowing that your babies, you know, not so much babies, but they can come to you and your husband not being judged, knowing that you've got the back. You may not like it, but you'll work through it.
Yeah.
You know, we have a mantra, we say, well, there's always a solution. With that, you know, with Charlie and Evie, and we've always said that. In fact, Charlie's got it on a chain that we had done around his neck because that's how we feel.
Yes.
But also going through, when you go through so much adversity and they've seen you do that and come out the other side is huge.
Yeah.
And the other flip side of that, what you said before, and I say to the kids, like, you can have so much adversity in life, and, you know, unfortunately some get that more than others. You know, we sign up for this apparently. But it doesn't give you a license to be an asshole.
No.
You know, like, you go out and you don't know what we're all one story away from, you see a homeless person, we're all one story away from that.
Yeah.
You know, it just does not matter.
No.
And it just stands them in good stead. Like you said, they've got the biggest hearts, they're kind. What's not to love about that?
I know.
You know? So I want to talk about this incredible work that you're doing now. You started the Hope Project. What was that like, obviously for you? And again, what I said at the beginning of the podcast, you know, yourself included, go through some horrendous journeys in their life and some, you know, big traumatic experiences, however that looks, but it turns into something far bigger than them because you understand it. That's the foundation, right? It's an understanding. And what was that like for you, for that? How did the Hope Project evolve?
Very, very organically. I didn't, you know, quit gambling and then go on tour the next day.
Yeah.
You know, like that's not how it happened. It was actually sparked by the the service provider was replaced in Canberra by, so the service provider that I saw the morning after I almost took my life, that counsellor was amazing, and I was seeing her for like 18 months. And then all of a sudden the government changed, got a new tender, changed service providers, and I was like, how can you just remove these relationships that we have with these people? It took me all this time to find some help, and now you've just taken that away.
And the trust.
Yes. And I was furious, absolutely furious. And I realized at that point, 18 months in, that I was actually turning up to help others. I wasn't really there for me anymore. I was turning up to try and make sure that people were getting that compassion, getting that awareness of things that they might not have known. And I thought, maybe, I should try and help others. And my counsellor said, you know what, you could train to take over this group and take this group into the new service provider. And I was like, do you think I could do that? And she said, yeah, you would be amazing, and that way they'll have you as the continuity of care. And so I trained, went to Sydney, did this training, took the group into the new service provider. But then every Monday night I'm sitting there waiting for people whose lives had already been profoundly destroyed to walk in the door. And I thought, nah, I've got to go further upstream. And at that point, I realised everybody I actually knew and cared about knew I had struggled with gambling or been impacted by gambling harm. I think the opposite of shame is speaking about what happened to me and helping others realise that this is happening all around. But because it's invisible and the shame is so high, people aren't really understanding that this is a big issue in our culture. And so I went along to a business networking group and got up and shared what this mission that I was starting was, And I remember the first time sharing my story publicly and sitting back down at this breakfast, and my hands were shaking so violently I couldn't even hold the knife and fork.
Oh, bless you.
But it was just so jarring for the people in that room to have somebody speak so vulnerably. If you're in business mode, you're in high mask, projecting only perfection, only professionalism, only all of these things. And I was the complete opposite of that. I was saying, I'm wanting to give talks in workplaces about this issue that's probably happening to your employees. It's probably happening to your work friends, might even be happening to people in this room. And I'm willing to do these presentations because people's lives are at risk if we don't talk about this in a constructive way. And people were just like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. And then after that breakfast, people would come up to me and go, I'm struggling, or my best friend's struggling, or my husband's struggling, or my wife is struggling. And people were just coming out of the woodwork talking to me. And or they'd say, do you know what you were saying about shame makes so much sense, but I'm actually struggling with drinking, or I'm struggling with drugs, or I'm struggling with being a workaholic, or whatever was going on.
Yeah.
And you've just given me hope, was what they would finish the sentence.
And also the partners of those, so not necessarily them struggling with addiction in some shape or form, but the relationship they have, they're the other person, or the partner, the husband, the sister, the mom, the dad.
Yes.
Incredible.
So that was where the name, the Hope Project, came to me. You know, like it
which all crosses over to what you said. That's the only hope that you have, that you'd win.
Yeah, it's about reclaiming hope in the future that you once had for your life, that is then replaced by this synthetic hope of being on a loop of horror that you never signed up for, that you didn't even think was possible, and that you can't understand how it's captured you and controlling you until somebody explains it.
Yeah.
And so the work that I do is working with people one-on-one, helping them understand this impact on a personal level. I work with families who've been impacted and helping them to, repair what has happened in their family, and actually help direct shame and to where it belongs, on the industry, on the government that is failing us profoundly.
Yeah.
Then fighting it, on a community level, and educating in schools, workplaces, universities, anywhere, anywhere that will have me, because that's where gambling harm is. We don't become the nation experiencing the highest levels of gambling harm in the world and it not impact every single workplace, every single school, every single university.
What did you use? You said the statistics as well of the suicidal rate.
Oh, yeah.
Is up there, isn't it?
You're 5 times more likely to take your life from gambling harm than any other addiction.
Oh, gosh.
That's how profound it is. And then I fight, obviously, on a policy and a changing legislation, and looking for opportunities to work with those in government that are committed to actually protecting their communities. Unfortunately, a large cohort of politicians are captured by the industry, so they are not even coming to the table to talk about this issue, because they'd rather protect these predators than actually protect the people who've elected them. And it's heartbreaking to be met with that level of
ignorance.
Just willful blindness.
Yeah.
And corruption. That's
until it affects them.
Yeah.
And not that I wish that on anyone. That's, horrendous. But that's usually what happens until they're affected by it on a personal level.
Yeah.
They can turn a blind eye and bury their head in the sand, or silenced in a lot of ways, because they feel like that they want to say something, but if they do, then their position's threatened, and
And politically, it's been designed because we don't have a national regulator. We don't have uniformity across the states. Nobody's working collaboratively. So everyone is able to go, oh, it's that person's problem. Oh, it's that person's problem. There's too much passing the buck and not enough ownership on, no, this is an impacting all of Australia. It doesn't matter whether you gamble or you don't. You're feeling the impacts of the fact that we are losing billions of dollars out of our communities, driving up the crime rate, driving up domestic violence, driving up suicides, homelessness, intergenerational poverty. It's horrific, the impacts.
And that's I'm glad you brought that up, because it's that generational cycle as well, trying to break that before it breaks them. Just like you said, with domestic violence and everything else that can, be entwined in there, that desperate, like the average family, most families, when they do separate and go the separate ways, is usually for financial strain.
Exactly.
That's the most one, isn't it? And obviously gambling, hello.
Yeah.
What do you think? I mean, it'd be easier to say, right, that all clubs should axe the pokie machines. They just shouldn't be. They should be obsolete. Should take it back to the beginning of 1990 when there were none around. That's not going to happen, is it? Unfortunately. Or are they? Is there hope that could happen?
I'm not about abolition. I think if I've been trying to work with creating reform, which means putting safeguards in and around products that are accessible. So the fact that the industry is not even willing to meet people in that basic context of consumer protection, the industry itself has decided, if they are connected to their community, if they care about their members, if they care about the well-being of their communities, they choose for themselves to go pokie free. They take the machines out of their own venues because they're not okay with harming their people. That speaks volumes.
Yeah.
That there is no current safe engagement. And I think if the industry has chosen greed over consumer protection.
Yeah.
They haven't put in, realistic safeguards. They haven't tried to curb the level of harm. They've only refined the products to be more addictive, faster. They're the ones ultimately that are most addicted to harming people. It's not actually the consumers that are addicted. It's the industry is addicted to exploiting people to the fullest extent. And that's what they're committed to doing.
Just heartbreaking.
Yeah. When you realise that and you see it in action, it's so horrific to think, what level of disconnect from your fellow man is okay with that. I can't comprehend it.
No.
Because I've heard from people in the industry say we should have pulled the reins in a long time ago, and there was just no appetite to do that.
Terrible. The mind boggles. It's just terrible. So with you now, you obviously doing all this incredible work that you're doing. You have a book coming out, which is on pre-order. Am I right?
Yes.
The name of the book?
I Bet I Can Change Your Mind.
Love it.
Disrupting the gambling industry, destroying the world.
Great name. I mean, that just speaks volumes in itself. How long has it taken? How long has this book been in motion for you?
A long time.
Is that? Did you know? Did you have this in this gut?
It started as, just me trying to make sense, building words and understanding around my own experiences, and then my experiences of, fighting in advocacy, in interacting with government, in interacting with people harmed by gambling, in interacting with families. It's just all of it that is so incredibly important for people to understand the whole context.
Yeah.
To be able to make sense of why this has happened and how to kind of rebuild from it.
I love that. With the book, so where can people find it to pre-order? What's the date it comes out? Is it September? I think it's the 19th of September. Did I read that right?
It's possibly a little later.
Okay.
I've been there's been a few holdups, but later this year.
Yeah, brilliant.
So yes, they can go on my website, thehopeprojectaustralia.com.au, and there's a form that they can fill out. And there's also a link to a very important campaign with change.org that we are running called Lost Limits, Not Lost Lives. And that is calling on state and territory governments to prioritise lost limits on poker machines. So that is the safeguards that we need in order to stop addiction from occurring.
So is that like a petition?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
incredible.
they can just click on it. There's over 12,000 signatures. And they can also leave their own stories of gambling harm at the bottom of the petition, which has been so powerful in and of itself.
Well, it's therapeutic for them as
Yeah.
well, feeling like they're being heard and just to get it down on paper, so to speak.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So sign the petition, share it, because you never know who in your network of people is actually experiencing this and might need to, not feel alone in it, to feel like they can contribute to doing something to try and create change.
Yeah, I love that. So it's almost like gives them sense of a bit of control back.
Yeah.
Being able to do something like that and have their voice heard.
All of my work is about rebuilding personal empowerment in this, because a person who's experienced gambling harm is just so destroyed by the way that this environment has controlled the narrative. You are the problem. You are a problem gambler. That's such bullshit.
So isolating.
This
isn't
is addiction by design.
Yeah.
There is nothing wrong with the person. They're actually using the product exactly how it's been designed to be used.
Yeah.
And that is horrific, that trap is laid and then made the person feel shame for using it that way.
Cruel.
It's cruel.
Yeah.
It's torment. That's what it really, it comes out in the...
So it's like, I don't like using the word loosely, but it's almost being gaslit, isn't it?
It is.
It's
absolutely.
that, so it's like, you're the crazy one,
Yes.
but we'll just be, but we're the crazies because we're designing this and making it easier and easier and easier for the consumer, but then we'll call it you out and take no blame, accountability, and
Correct.
it's terrible. I can feel my heart like racing and quite heavy just listening to it. It's like, how is that even allowed?
Well, the industry itself is allowed to promote gambling as entertainment. How?
Awful.
How is it not classified in the same context as other harmful products? It's entertainment. Like, that is so gaslighting.
Yeah. It's horrific. Horrific.
There's nothing entertaining about destroying a person's life to the point that this product does.
Yeah.
It either puts them in jail, puts them in the ground, puts them into irreparable poverty. It puts them into disconnection from their loved ones. It's horrible, the outcomes that I hear from people. And the industry itself is one component. So there's the fact that we have no regulation around it as well. But then there's all these sub-industries that are also predatory. So banks, payday loans, they have all been, there's a feeding frenzy on the fact that we have the most relaxed regulation in the world.
It's just made easier and easier to access now, isn't it? Funds. Like you said, people are getting their payday before payday's due.
Yes.
And then paying interest, I would imagine, on top of that as well.
Yes.
You're forever behind, wouldn't you?
Correct.
Like you're spending it before you've actually received. Then when you do receive it, it's going back to them, and then it's just this perpetual cycle.
So then it fuels it even further.
Oh, gosh.
Like, this is the level of, you know, what people are up against. It's not a fair fight at all. It's all stacked against people. And the fact that, you know, we were talking about earlier, this is now, the industry has paid young people to model it to other young people and normalize it in a way that, you know, a few years ago, the clubs themselves were saying, we have no young people in here. We're going to die out in a few years. No one's coming in. Oh, I know how to fix that. We'll pay young people to film themselves on machines, advertising it to the next generation.
Scary.
It's horrific. So the one glimmer of light in the horrific reforms that the government just announced was, and I don't know how they're planning to achieve it, but is to outlaw influencing, using if you're a professional sports person, if you're a celebrity, if you're an influencer, you shouldn't be allowed to model this to others.
Absolutely. The mind boggles. Like, I can only, I mean, there'd just been, Evie does influencing, and there'd just be, well, it'd be a hard no from her anyway.
Yeah.
Initially. But even as a parent, it'd just be absolutely not a cat in hell's chance.
Well, you're seeing now a rise of actual influencers speaking out against it and saying, I just got offered, you know, this much money by a gambling company and I've said no. And I want to see more of that. I want to see people calling out this industry for what it is and saying no to harming others. Like, there's no excuse for doing that to another human being, knowing full well what this industry is capable of.
Yeah, horrific. So if people want to contact you, how do they do that best?
You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on...
Can you spell your Instagram now? I'll put the links for everyone listening as well. I'll put your book links, your Instagram, social media platforms, etc., and your website in there. But yeah, what's your Instagram?
the.hope.project.
Awesome. And I do have one question to ask you. If one of our listeners is going through what you were going through when you were in the thick of it, in a couple of sentences, what would you say to them if they felt hopeless and nowhere to go and shameful and all of those things that you felt? What would you say to them?
I'm so sorry that gambling has impacted your well-being. I'm so sorry that you have been harmed by this industry. It's not good enough that you have grown up in a country that has protected an industry's product instead of protecting you. And the shame that you are feeling has been put there by that industry. It's not who you are, it's what's happened to you. The shame in this scenario belongs on an industry that knowingly preys upon other people and financially exploits them to the fullest extent. You are up against now AI. You are up against machines and products built to addict you. This is not a failure of will or a failure of any kind that you saw coming. I get people to think about the first time they ever engaged with gambling. What were you doing that day? Did you wake up that day and think, do you know what, today I'm going to go get a gambling addiction? I bet you didn't. I bet you started your day like any other, and somehow you engaged with a product that you didn't understand could be powerfully addictive, just as cocaine. And when you don't understand those things, you didn't engage with it with intent. But the intent of an industry to harm you exactly how you have been harmed, that was there all along. That's been there in New South Wales since the 50s.
They're what they're looking for.
You are the exact customer that they hoped
The
would
avatar,
come along.
yeah.
Yeah. So it's about rebalancing that perspective
Yeah.
and starting to cultivate kindness towards yourself, starting to actually build your true hopes again that you once held for your life. You know, what is it that you like about yourself? What is it that you want to focus your energy on? What is it that you want to build? And refocusing your energy towards that.
Yeah.
There's free financial counselling in every state. Engage with a financial counsellor. Help them be that support around your finances to help you rebuild your new goals and eliminate the mental exhaustion of trying to battle your finances by yourself.
Yeah.
That's too exhausting. You need support around that. And, there are good counsellors now that you can access that are free as well.
Yeah.
But as I said, if you do encounter somebody who doesn't get it, who doesn't understand, reach out to me and I'll help.
Bless you. Thank you, Kate. I think you're incredible. The work that you're doing is incredible. I know you're just getting started, even though you've been doing it for quite some time, but, you know, bigger things. And, thank you for being the voice for all of us and for our listeners. And unfortunately, you know, statistically, there will be people listening to this who are affected in some shape or form, which is really sad.
Yeah.
But I have no doubt that your humility and your authenticity today is going to help so many. So thank you.
Thank you.
So for all our listeners and audience today, I appreciate you, and I don't ask for much, but if you can like and share this episode of Kate's today, that would be amazing, and together we can help so many. Thank you.
Thank you.